Hello and welcome back to the Operation Meridian 1 scenario, GMT's Wing Leader Eagles 4345 by Lee Brimacombe Wood. As is usual with the turns on this, because I'm forgetting things here, is that I forgot to do the dogfight possibilities from the back end of last turn. I think it's because when I transferred to the battle display over here, and then back, I kind of get lost in the mix. However, I've analysed the three battles we had, which was here, here, and here. So this is the only one where we need to do a dogfight check. Over here, there is this KI-44H, which is tallying the bomber. And so is D. The Hellcat here was tallying the KO-45 E here, which broke. So therefore, there's no continuous combat possible there from the tallies as they are, not including the bomber, which you don't roll for a dogfight with the bomber. Here it was straight fighter versus bomber, and here we had one of the combatants here, the KO-43 flight here, was already broken. So again, no dogfight. So it's only here, and this one, of course, had the bomber R, then had the Japanese Hayabusa, I think it is, O. No, sorry, the Shoki O. Then being tallied by the Corsair, I think it is here. Yep, that dived down on it, and then R here was the KI-43 Hayabusa flight, which broke. So excluding the bomber and the broken flight, it's between these two, O and I, here, whether a dogfight ensues. Of course, the Japanese really wouldn't like to keep the get a dogfight going because there's a tally on a bomber. And of course, the British escort would want to have one. So we have a competitive situation here. So we analysed the speed of each. So O, as I said, was a KO-44. So his speed is a 6, +1 for the dive. The Corsair is also a 6 with +1 for the dive. So there's no differential there. And there's no veteran status. There is a disruption on I here, the Corsair, but that doesn't actually matter, nor does the ammo matter either. It's only quality of the aircrew and the speed, basic speed value. Okay, so it's just a straight roll between the two. So let's do a quick roll here. Roll for the Corsair is a 2, and a roll for the Shoki is also a 2. So when it's equal, that means that there is a dogfight. Equal to or greater than for the Corsair. So we have the result of a dogfight here in this space, which will be a relief for the Avenger there. This means that the tally on the bomber here should be switched around to the Corsair. This tally for R should vanish because it is broken, so therefore it is going to do a return to base rather than an intercept. And I'll just check if I've got any more here. So the E, we need the return to base as well, like here, and where E tallied the bomber T, so that disappears as well. So just some housekeeping here as well. C tallies nobody, R tally nobody, and yeah, E tallying nobody. Great. Okay, so we're done, and now we're on to turn 7. So turn 7, no setup needed because we've got no more reinforcements coming in, and so we're on to the tally phase, and let's kind of zoom into the where we are in the on the board. Okay, so Raiders first. So let's check what the British fighters are doing. Remember, we ignore the bombers. So starting here, we have A here, which has tallied this broken Hayabusa flight. I don't think we need to follow that anymore, so I think that tally will drop, but then it will attempt to tally this squadron up here, this shaky Hayabusa squadron here. Sorry, they're both Hayabusas here. Right, so that's 1, 2, but there is the cloud in the way. So it's greater than the 2 with a +1 on the dice. I don't think we have anything else that applies. Let me just check the list. Has anybody else tagged A? H has, and yeah, so they should be able to talk on the radio net, so there should be a +1, and that's all. So just the +1. It's a straight roll, and we need to do greater than a 2. So that's a 3. So that's correct, and the tally then comes across to A. And so moving along here, we have H here, which has tallied this fighter. Is it worth attempting to tally something else instead? We have O in the dogfight here. R has broken, so we have no need to worry about that space here, and we have some fighters here as well. So possibly, I think it will keep the tally there for H. I here is in the dogfight, and who do we have left? We have the Hellcat here, B. E is now broken, so I think we'll drop the tally on E, and we have H, which is the veteran expert here. I think probably worth fighting with that. D here has already been tallied, but actually has been tallied way down here with the Firefly, which I think we might lose now. But I think H is the dangerous one, so we will attempt to tally H. Uh, 3 will be fine. It's in the same hex, so probably the same square, so I think it was pretty much automatic. Yeah, so B is actually B was already tallying H, so yeah, he'll just maintain then. I think I might have just moved that prematurely. Okay, so that's the Allied. N can keep that the tally going from way down here. It needs to be 10 spaces. It's not particularly useful, but at least something. On the Japanese side, though, we've got quite a few broken units here. So the KR-43 here, the Hayabusa here, would still, I think, have a go at the bomber that it's tailing. R is broken, and O is in a dogfight, so that they're stuck. The Ki-44H here, H has tallied, let me see, H has tallied S, which is the Avengers in here, and it has been tallied by B, and the Ki-43 underneath here, that's D, is kind of free, and D has tallied S as well, and I think we might move that to R here. So we'll roll. It's pretty much automatic, I think. Yeah. So we will move D's tally from S to R. Then we also have F here, which is the green Toriu Ki-45 flight, which I think may try and clock T here, which has no tallies on it. So he's got 1, 2, 3 because of the cloud, but the formation is 3 or more squadrons, so it's +2, and also he's green, so it's +1 in that case. So it evens out, and he needs greater than a 2. And there's a 3, so there is, yeah, he has a tally. He had tallied A, which was this squadron here, but we'd rather go for a bomber, so tallying T. And that's it, I believe. That's all the tallies done, and I think that's all we need to do. Yep. So we're on to the movement phase. Okay, so the movement phase, there are no designated escorts yet. Everybody's sweep on the British side, so we're on to just the bombers moving here. So Q will move, and Q moving will allow A to move. I think we'll Q here, targets are here, so yeah, next turn it will actually be bombing. So yeah, the A will go with it. Now we have H and A following. So H here will also enter, and A here. I think he might wait because he's climbing. So he has 3 points, and to climb for the Hellcat at this level is 2 points. So that would be a 1, 2. And that's why he's only got 3 movement points as an alert fighter. So yeah, I think he might just circle here. If I've got a circling marker spare. Yeah, here we are. So A will be circling here. Right. Because you do have freedom of movement. You don't actually have to move into the space where your tally is. Okay, yeah, it would be 2 more movement points to move up. It's whatever the card says as your initial climb, and then the next climb is 2 movement points, irrelevant of what your aircraft is. We'll just put a climb marker there as well. Remove the speed. Right, next it's T. T moves 2, and T is tallied by F here. So again, he'll have to come up here. So the KI-45 climb is 2 again. So 2 and 3, I think, with a climb marker. Right. Let's get the cloud out of the way, shall we? Right. So that's T done. Next is R. R moves 2, and R is tallied by D, which is, where are we? Ah, D's over here, isn't he? Whoops. Yep. D's over here. 1, 2, 3. Can attack R. But D is tallied by N. But N is the Firefly down here, so nobody's following him. Okay. Then we have S, which will move 2. And S is tallied by H. And H is... where is H? Ah, I did displace him here, didn't I? So H moves on, but H is tallied by B, so B will move up as well. Okay, so that's all the bombers done, and the tallied units behind that. We have our, I'll remove the dive markers here. We have our Corsair and the Shoki Squadron O in a dogfight, so we'll stick the dogfight marker on them. And what we should have actually done is done the dogfight first, so let's just do that. Now, the dogfight movement is a little odd. There's one side or the other will move all the aircraft a certain distance. Let's just organise that. So we do just a straight 50-50 roll. 1 to 3, the raider player moves it. 4 to 6, the defending player, which would be the Japanese here. So it's a 4, so the Japanese player moves the dogfight. Now you can move it one space, the same altitude or below. I think we would want to follow the bombers if we can. So in which case, I think we would probably end up here. Although what that might do is that might suck in H as well. So we'll probably set it 1 lower. We'll probably drop, I think, just to keep the dogfight out of the way. Okay, the dogfight done. And then it's alerted fighters, so pretty much the rest. Starting at the lowest level, lowest initiative, and that actually would be the Firefly here. So we probably like to keep strafing, but we only have 3 points here. Firefly at 0 to 2 altitude is only 1 movement point to climb. So if we climbed here for 1, and then we dove back down for 1, I think that should be alright to do that. So we can do another strafing run here, which we do immediately. Yeah, and actually scratch that, I just read the rules, and because the Fireflies ammo depleted, it will actually return to base if it's strafing, I believe. Just need to check whether it can we go back to doing its sweeping. Actually, yeah, no, it will return to base. So we replace the sweep with a return to base. Here, and so actually what it will do is a 1, 2, 3, and move along here at level 0. So it's kind of done its job. Okay, from there we have C here. C is broken, so we will need to return him to base here. So we don't really want to go through these barrage zones. So we will do 1 and maybe 2, 3 with a climb, attempting to get away over the target. So that's C done. F, we have moved, I believe. Yep, the Hellcat and the Toryu have moved. The dogfight has moved, so we're up to this level. I think the only people who haven't moved is R here, which has broken. So therefore he will just move 3 here. And E, which is also broken, which will move 3 here. So just attempting to get away. And I think that's all our movement. Yeah. So that's movement phase done. And the combats we have, I believe we have, is starting from the left. So B, S and H, I think. B, S and H have a fight here. We have D and R having a fight here. Sorry, D and R have this. The Japanese R is broken. There's no fight here. There's a dog fight down here, and of course there's the fight here. So I will put Charlie on that one there, and maybe we might double up Abel with the dogfight as well on the chart. So I'll get everything moved across and let's see how the combat goes. Here we are with the battle display for the combat phase here. We do 2 combats in Abel here, the dogfight and of course the bomber chase here. So we'll go this way, of course. So the defender is the British because there's a bomber here. They're on a 7 because they have Hellcat for 6 plus 1 for the veteran. KI-44 here is a 6 for speed. And sorry, I was pointing out the veteran here. Is a 6 for speed, -1 for the being a flight, +1 for being a veteran, and then we've got a +1 on the dice because of the expert here. So it's +1 -1 with the -1 roll having a +1 on the dice. Okay, so we'll do the British first, which is on the +1. Oh, it's a good roll. That's an 11. That's 11 with no modifiers on +1. Is 3 hits. So yeah, that's substantial. And if we do the reverse, it's -1 +1 on the dice on the -1 chart. That's pretty measly. It's a 5 going to a 6, which does nothing. So 3 hits onto the KI-44 here, the expert veteran. Right, so we need to roll 3 times here. And the first roll, we have a Hellcat with 2 firepower. And we don't have any other modifiers. Nope, so just the +2 firepower. for each roll. So I'll do 2 here. Shift this up a little bit in view. So 2 of the hits, 3 and 4 become 5 and 6, and the KI-44 is a protection of 4, so they're both hits. That's two losses, and the last one, that's also a loss, so 3 whole losses there. That's substantial. Onto the KI-44, and that's H here, so right. So let's roll for cohesion here. So we have the bomber, the Avenger here, which is already disrupted. So it has a loss marker, and it has where are we now? It has a loss marker, so it's -1, and that's all. Yeah, that's all. So a loss marker gives us yeah, -1 to the roll. Oh, a 4 going to a 3. A 3 is a disruption, so that actually does break the bomber, which is a special situation because it doesn't cut and run for home. It just has it's not going to be particularly accurate on the bombing. On the shaky flight here, so it's a veteran squadron. It's taken 3 losses, so that's -3 +1 -2. It was the attacker, so it's -1, but it is -2 ammo depleted, so it will be -3 on the dice total. Oh no, not good. So that's a 5 becoming a 2, so it does break. Not surprising as there's only 1 aircraft left in that there. And over here with the Hellcat, it's already disrupted. It has no losses. It is veteran, so +1 on the dice, but it does have ammo depleted, so it's -1 on the dice total. 6 going to a 5, that is a 1. That also breaks the Hellcat. So a complete mess happens in that combat, even though there's a lot of Japanese losses as well. Right, so here with the dogfight here, we have 6 versus 5. It has to be a turning value combat, not a speed one, and the Corsair is better than the KI-44 in doing that. So it becomes out 6 to 5, and so no modifiers though. So we roll for the British on the +1 table. We get a 3, which is going to be nothing at all. And we have the -1 table for the KI-44, which gets a 12. Wow. So a 12 on -1 is 3 losses. So that Corsair already has a straggler. So we roll these losses. The KI-44 has a firepower of 1. So it's +1 on the dice. And I don't think there's any other modifier, so it's just a +1. And we roll the 3 losses. Corsairs have a 4 to 5 protection. So need to roll well to get actual losses here on the Corsairs. But let's roll 2 of them. So a 1 is a miss. A 5, add 1 is 6, is a loss. So 1 Corsair goes down. And we roll the 3rd loss. A 6, which is another Corsair down. Okay. Right, and then roll cohesion check. So for the British, 2 losses, -2. We have it's attacking, so that's -1 net, and then it's depleted for another -2, so it's -3 on the dice. So there's a possibility of breaking here as it's already disrupted. A 7, I don't think it's good enough. -3 is a 4. Yeah, the Corsair breaks. And over here we have, we'll also put the ammo marker down as well. Over here with the KR-44, it was the Defender. I don't think there's anything other than the ammo to deal with here, so it's just -1 on the dice. 7 goes to a 6. A 6 is a disrupt, just. And of course the ammo marker moves. Right. Next up in Baker, we just have the Avenger with the Hayabusa KR-43 flight attacking it. So we got a 4 to a 1. The Hayabusa gives us a 5 for speed. We don't want to use turn because then we get +2 defense for the Avenger. So it's a 5 -1 because it's a flight. And the Avenger here is a 3 normally, carrying bombs, and is green, so it comes down to a 1. So it's +3 -3. On the +3 side, there is no modifiers for the Japanese. Oh, that doesn't look too good. That's abysmal. It's a 1-1, which is nothing. On the -3, I seem to be rolling extremes here at the moment on the A combat table. There's a 7. A 7 is nothing, so nothing happens here. We roll for the cohesion check. The Avenger already has a disruption, and it already has a loss. So -1 for the loss, and I think that's it really. Oh, and green. So -2 on the dice for the cohesion check. But on the bomber chart though, an 8 goes to a 6, which is actually none for the bomber. And then for the KR-43 here, we have -2 for the ammo depleted. We have no losses, but it was an attacking side, so it's +1 for that. Means a net -1 on the cohesion check. A 6, not great, goes to a 5. That is disrupted. So slowly but surely, the aircraft formations are starting to get messy, and yeah, their effectiveness starting to drop here. Okay, finally we're on Charlie here, where we have the bomber being chased by the KI-43 Hayabusa squadron and the Corsair squadron following that. So the Corsair is the Avengers are the defenders, but we're using the Corsair as the unit to do the fight. It's a 6, I don't believe with any particular modifiers, and the Hayabusa on speed, it doesn't want to use turn. It would get a bonus with turn, so it has a 6. However, it would add the defense rating on the modifier, and I don't think we'll do that. So +1 -1 here. The veteran status of the bomber doesn't matter because we're using the Corsair here. So +1 for the British. It's an 8. 8 on the +1 table is 1 loss. And the -1 table for the Japanese, a 6 is just a miss. So just 1 loss on, sorry, I won't remove that. Just 1 loss on the KR-43. Firepower, the Corsair is +2. No other modifiers. So just 1 roll. 6 going 7, 8. That is a loss. And cohesion hits. Bomber first, shall we do? It has no loss markers. It is a veteran, so +1. And that's it. So just a +1 roll. 7 going to an 8 is no effect. With the KR-43, we have 1 loss. It was the attacker, so those two cancel out. However, it does have -2 for ammo depleted, so that's a net -2. oh dear, not good, a 5 going to a 3. That breaks immediately. So 2 levels of disruption and breaks the Ki-43. It's not good news for the Japanese. There's a lot of braking happening here for their squadrons and flights. And finally, with the Corsair, we have an ammo low marker here, which will flip up just to remember, but I won't count it. Just the -1 here. -1 for the low ammo, and I think that's all. So just a -1 on the dice. A 7 going to a 6 is a disruption. Okay. Right, and before I forget, let's sort out the dogfights. So this dogfight breaks up because the Corsair has broken, so there is no more dogfight here. Here we have 2 broken units, so no dogfight here. Here we have fighter to bomber, that's not a dogfight situation. Here we have a broken unit on one side, so that's not dogfight. So there is no dogfights possible here, and all we need to do now is just to put the counters, etc., and the displays back onto the main map. That's what we'll do now.